I feel like, I guess because I was preparing and researching this for so long, I put a lot into it. It feels like I've been here for a long time, that I've been away from the States for a long time, but that I'm in a new place. I know that sounds weird to say that.
No, but I feel the same way.
Yeah.
That we've been here longer than what we really have been.
Or that I've been away from the States
Yeah.
for a long time, but this is still new.
Just to see a bigger picture right here. And
where we're at.
they haven't continued building here yet, so we're finishing this side. Yeah, so it's gonna be a pretty big finished estate. Yeah.
It's already a challenge moving abroad as it is.
Oh my goodness. If you come without planning and knowing certain things, you're gonna hit walls. And it's an easy transition. So imagine if you're going to a country that is not as soft.
All right, well, welcome to the Norris household here in Manyaca.
Yeah.
You know. This is an area that we enjoy.
Especially early in the morning.
Especially early in the morning, sometimes late in the evening as well. Come out here. Our dogs are out here now. But we come out here and we're able to relax and take in this view of the lagoon here. And there's a lot of activity here. You can kayak. There's sand there like a beach, and it stretches all the way up to the other side. So, and there's a braai grill
over here.
right over there.
Yeah.
Right now, some of our clothes are drying. We hang some of our laundry out here to dry.
Something you'll see very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the gym. You have almost like a store, like a
small spaza inside of a cafe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is a theater in there also. Mm-hmm. And then you have the restaurant over here. You have the spa, the laundry room, the laundry service on the other side of the building. And it's like several different dog parks. So it's very pet friendly here, which is pretty cool. So I guess that's why we got 2 dogs. Yep. Yes. 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths. So basically it's more of an open concept. So you have the kitchen over here and the living room here, which we spend a lot of time watching movies. We are a movie family, so we're always on some popcorn and movie here and stuff. And I'm the cook. Praise the Lord, I'm the cook over here. And I mean, it's small, but yet it's spacious enough to have us
pretty
here.
Spacious apartment. And I think about 1,300 square feet.
It's 1,100.
1,100 square feet.
Yeah,
sorry.
1,100.
So about the size of a small house.
Very small house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all the bedrooms are going to be on this side of the house. And this is our son's room here. He's on the bed playing on his computer. Yeah, this is the first bathroom for the kids' bathroom and stuff. And then this is our daughter's bedroom that she hardly sleeps in, but it's her room that we're hopefully. It's not going to happen because we're planning to move to our house anyway.
Well, we have somebody staying with us.
Oh, our niece, so she's been staying with us here.
Niece,
yeah. And then our bedroom. So my thought was more of what would be easier for him to adjust. Ghana, I wasn't feeling it at all. Uganda, with all the videos when he goes there, I was like, no, that's not going to work. Because I really wanted a place where he can feel free and to grow without me looking over his shoulders all the time, right? And of course, America became a place where I didn't feel like it will be a place where we will be able to give him that type of freedom. So when he mentioned South Africa, I don't know, to me it just felt right. So I told him, let's check it out. So before we came October of 2021, because we came in November of 2021. He had a little situation in the park where it was 2 or 3 Caucasian kids that decided to kind of rejected him and said some stuff to him. And he came to us and was like, okay, what does that mean? How come they don't want to play with me? And it hurt, right? As a parent, a piece of my mama bear wanted to come out, but It was like, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to South Africa. Let's go. Let's see if this will be a place for us to go, right, to live. And so when we got there, I mean, it was a nice welcome at the airport with the lady who was the TSA, I think, not TSA, customs. And then we went to the Mall of Africa. One day, it was like a Saturday, we went there in the courtyard of the Mall of Africa. There was these kids playing, and my son came over, and to see how they adjusted so he can play. You know, they realized, oh, he speaks English, and they switched to English, and they were just playing as if they knew each other. And for me, that was we can do this here. Right. So it was a confirmation for me then, in November when we went, that it was a good place. He can be himself. He's a very talkative, intuitive child, not feeling like he needs to be suppressed or hindered from being great, right? Or you're too smart, I don't want to be around you, or something in that nature. So seeing how they move here with the kids, I mean, for me, it's mind-blowing how they embrace them. And to see that they want the best for them to be kids, to just be kids. I get in trouble when I tell them, no, don't do something, or if the baby's crying, they're like, no, let her do herself and everything. And I remember we went to Israel school. They had like a leadership ceremony, and she started getting restless, and they kind of like, no, let me take her, and so she can calm, let her play in the back. In the States, you don't do that. Like, you don't, kids stay in their lane, this is an event. No, they were like, no, should let her be and let her play, even though the ceremony is happening. You know, so it's, and then there was the guy in front of us, he was like, come to uncle. So it calmed her for the rest of the event, you know. So I mean, we've been to restaurants where they'll take her, walk her around,
really nice restaurants. Like I remember there's one place, I think it's Leonardo.
Yeah.
Okay, and so a friend of ours who was visiting, they're also planning to move here too, just got their visa. But anyway, you know, they have a son about my son's age. So my kids are there, my daughter starts running around, and my son and our friend's son kind of started playing with her. This is a really nice restaurant. And like inside of me, I'm like, no, you know, like we gotta, you know, let's get this in order real quick. And so I'm looking over, and the servers are playing with her, and nobody's like really caring. Yeah. And it just like, it was, so you know, I remember I was talking to a woman, Dr. K. She should get her doctorate real soon. Yeah. She's been living here for 20 years, and prior to that, 10 years in Mozambique. Yeah. So 30 years on the continent. And I asked her, I said, what is it in 20 years that you've learned? You know, I like to gain people's insight who've been here for a while. She said, I can tell you one thing, this is a great place to raise kids. And that just resonated. I said, yeah, that's that's the vision I was given, that this would be a good place for my family. Yeah. And I know South Africa has its challenges and struggles, but I would have to say it's for us and how, you know, we've been able to live here. It has been a great place for kids. It really has been a great place for my family, not just my kids, just for us as a family. So it has an ensuite. Go ahead.
Yeah, it has an ensuite, and it's a decent size for both of us for now. And unfortunately, they all come and sleep with us as if they don't have their own rooms, but it's okay. It's okay. Right. So yeah.
No, they have built-in closets, and you'll see this quite a bit.
Storage-wise, they always most of the houses that we ever seen in apartments, they have good storage.
And so you just have it set up
built-in
throughout the continent.
Yeah,
built-in closets.
Yeah.
Shower. Shower in here. The other bathroom has a
okay.
Little tub for the little one. I don't know if you saw the bathroom, or if did he go into the bathroom, or
no? I don't know.
Okay. And this is like the
standard
standard guest bathroom. So you have a shower and a tub. Yeah.
So this area, it's our go-to. like I said, you came at the right time because this doesn't really stay clean and stuff. You know, the kids and their pillows and blankets and games and toys. But we really do spend a lot of time here watching movies, documentaries and stuff, or just sitting, just to sit. Then, yeah, because our bedroom is really for sleeping. We don't just chill in our bedroom. So it's really out here in the balcony. Yeah. Yeah, and that's
and a
really.
lot of people when they come, they like to sit on the balcony.
Yeah, when we have guests, this area is really guests. We do our Bible studies here, and stuff. So it's very open and bright. So it's a great space to just receive people. Yeah.
And sometimes when people come, sometimes we hang out with them in the restaurant downstairs.
Yeah.
Well, in the lifestyle center. And, so we have a good time doing that with them and. Or on the lagoon.
The lagoon, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Hey Web Nation family, something real is happening now. Spots for our November trip 2026 is actively being taken and people are booking now as you watch it. That means this is no longer an idea, it's happening guys. It's real. If you've been watching these stories and you are feeling that pull and you're telling yourself, I will do it someday, that someday is now. Right now, you can secure your spot with just a deposit. Now, if you want a payment plan, then your deadline for payment is this April 30th. The question is simple. Are you coming? Click the link in the description now to secure your spot or scan the QR code and I'll see you in South Africa. Now, let's get back into the video.
I had a long desire to be in Africa for a while or a majority black country, but also to really connect, understand things about African culture, because that's a culture that we come from, right? So we've been kind of detached from our culture, so to speak. So just she's Haitian, so not so much in Haiti, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, African Americans, we have semblances of it, you know what I mean? We have semblance of African culture. And I don't think we realize it all the time, like how if you're close to somebody, you call them your cousin, right? You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of family, so to speak. If that's your auntie or your uncle, they may not be a relative, but you were taught that growing up. But, I've always wanted to learn more about Africa, where we come from. And so that's also an opportunity. Like recently, back in December, I had an opportunity to be a part of a wedding, and matter of fact, to be officiate the wedding. It was in KwaZulu-Natal province in PMB, Pietermaritzburg, which is the capital of that province, and it was a Zulu and Xhosa wedding. So I helped give my niece, she's like a niece by relation here, away into marriage, and so they had a lot of the traditional aspects, and I actually got a chance to sit on a lobola. Well, I was adjacent to the lobola negotiation, which is the bridal price. And it was fascinating to watch it because I know it's kind of similar across the continent. There's differences and variations amongst each cultural group, but it was just something to see. It was like.
It was beautiful.
It's more than just paying for a bride. A lot of people think that. It's really about families coming together and showing my wife got to be an honorary auntie, and she was giving some money too. You know what I'm saying? So, just be in a place where I guess the background or roots of our culture is celebrated and embraced, you know what I mean? And to really firsthand experience it. I don't know.
Well, I guess for me it's a bit different because growing up Haitian, we as a culture we never rejected the African side, right? So you'll see a lot of that even within our culture. So for me, it was like almost feeling like home. Like I would tell him, "Oh, this reminds me of this reminds me of," because there's the similarities, right? So I never really had a negative view about Africa because you know, for me, that's the same views they created for Africa that's created for Haiti. But if you go to Haiti,
true.
you're like, where is all this stuff happening, right? So to me, we always had that thought process of there's more to the story than what they're showing.
Yeah.
So I never really had a negative view about Africa, the continent itself, let alone South Africa, knowing what they have gone through. I mean, sung some of their songs when I was growing up and everything. So it was always a prideful thing. So it wasn't a fear. I didn't have any fear of moving here. It was more so, you know, the kids, well, now plural kids, to adjust, right? So for me, I didn't have, like, you know, some people are fleeing America, or our minds were switching to move here way before it became a bit more chaotic over there. So it was never a concept of fleeing. It was more so of planning, like how are we gonna get here, how we like to live, and then the rest move by faith.
And,
right?
and even though I tell people, look, if you are planning to flee, still plan to flee. Don't just flee. You know what I'm saying? Some people flee.
Get the visa, flee.
Right. Some people flee with no plan. And it's like, you know, you got to move strategically, right? You got to move, whatever country you're trying to move to, you have to move strategically, right? You have to think, weigh out the pros and cons and so on and so forth. But plan your move, get the proper visa, right? I stress that because, you know, it's important. You know, that's going to affect how you know,
maneuver in the country.
Yeah, if you're going to finance a car, it's going to be based on the length of your visa. If you're going to get an apartment, are you here just for 90 days or are you going to be here for the next several years? You know what I mean? That's going to affect your leveraging power with landlords or with financing and so on and so with banking.
Yeah, the type
with
of
banking. The type of banking, all of that stuff. So that passport and that visa is very important. It's an important piece of document when you're going to live outside of the country, you know. And I've you know, as I've watched shows, people in other countries, and they were having trouble in one particular country, and I was thinking it was the country. Then I started listening. I'm like, well, you guys are all trying to apply for your long-term visas in that country. Most places you have to apply before you come for a long-term visa. There's some countries that do like online applications. I think like Botswana does it, but you got to find out what is the proper process. What are the proper protocols? Because if not, you'll set yourself up for people or frustration or folk that say, "Oh man, I can hook you up," and then you know how that goes, right? Then you get played. So the plan. If you want to flee, I understand. I get it. It's been 400 years of, you know, folks talk about the American dream. For us, it's been for Black Americans, it's been an American nightmare. I get it. I understand, but don't let your emotions overrule moving strategically with a plan. That's, you know, if you want to flee, that's fine. Flee with a plan. Know where you're going, right? Don't flee chaotically in a frenzy, because you're not going to enjoy it.
No. You're
not going to enjoy it, man, you know, so that's my advice to people. You know, I was like, well, man, I guess the stuff I was seeing wasn't just good camera angles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I can, you know, first we stayed in a place called Rosebank, which is a high density urban type area, suburb, really nice area. And, you know, it was definitely Africa, but it was like a different vibe. It's almost like I could have been in another city in the U.S. to a degree. But
a nicer
still,
New York.
A friendlier, you know,
New York.
And I was just, I was really amazed, you know, as I stated. I think maybe I remember when the World Cup was here in South Africa. So I saw glimpses of that, but they just showed the games. And so prior to that, my knowledge of South Africa, my image of South Africa was, you know, the struggle against apartheid, you know, Soweto, Cape Town, Joburg. I remember hearing those names all the time, marching, protesting. You know, they would show the conditions that our people here had to live in, so on and so forth. And so, and then I remember Mandela being released, him becoming president, and it was like, okay, that's it. No more news coverage of South Africa. So, I really didn't
keep up with
keep up. I mean, I saw a documentary called Blacks Without Borders.
Yeah.
Back in 2009, 2010, after my first trip to Uganda, because I was trying to research information about Black Americans moving to the continent. And I remember them then showcasing how much they enjoyed the lifestyle here, the businesses they were doing, the homes they had. And so that was 2010. And so when I came, I'm like, oh, I see what they're referring to, why they like it so much, And, I was like, man, this is a place full of history that really kind of resonates, almost parallel to our history in the U.S.
Definitely.
And I was just like really taken back at what was offered here, just I visited the school that my son now goes to. And I was like, okay, we can certainly live here. We can adapt here.
For me, so I didn't realize how I took work with me everywhere I went, even if we're on vacation. So when COVID hit and everything, I got laid off from one bank that I was working on. We already paid for this trip, so I said, let's just go, right? So this was the first trip that I took, oh my gosh, that I actually didn't have to work. So I was actually present for the entire trip. To come here to see, just driving, we're driving around, and I'm like, Scott, do you realize the species of trees here? So I decided to do some research. It was strategic to take different species of trees to plant them in Johannesburg. And I'm talking about from Brazil and different other countries, they planted them here. And they strategically did that. So for me to have the presence to even acknowledge that woke me up and say, oh my goodness, what type of vacation have I been taking in the past, right? And to also realize that I was no longer looking over my shoulder, stressing out over him. And let me explain what that means. He used to work for a insurance company in the States, coming home around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're in Ohio. So I'm up tensed until I hear the car coming in. I didn't realize that I was having a form of PTSD until I came here, because he was walking around Rosebank at different times with his phone in his pocket. But I had to really pull back and realize I'm not tensing up. I'm not worried. I'm actually getting ready to go to bed with the little one, and realize, oh my gosh, there was a sense of peace that I did not realize I was missing out on until I got here.
Yeah, because Joburg kind of, I guess if I could compare it to a place would be like Atlanta, in that it's like of course you're not the minority here, right. For one, you're a part of a majority, but just seeing Black people on all types of levels.
Yeah.
From high to low, wherever they're at. And that was really cool for me to experience that and see that, you know what I mean? And just see that.
Just people are living,
Yeah.
I love my South Africans. You guys know how to live, work hard, and play hard. I mean, when it's time for them to get off, they get off.
Yeah.
Here in America, you kind of like overtime. Like you work more than play.
It's the hourly rate, right?
Right, but they know how to turn it off, to have fun, spend time with family. Like they can turn that off when they need to, and just be present and stuff. So watching that for me was like, at this point, I'm just South African. December comes, I'm off. Like, don't bother me, it's holiday. I'm following the trend here, So learning to pull out, learning to, do your job and everything, but at the same time, don't forget your home. Right, and to be in an environment that celebrates that embraces it, makes it so much easier to adjust and switch and stuff. So I would say for rent, we are paying around 23,000 Rand a month, which is about, depending on the exchange, 12 to 1,300 USD. Our food, oh my goodness, I think we spend about 400 USD a month, around 400, 450. And that's including going out to eat and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then we bought a car, cash.
We pay cash,
So
the Chinese
our
car.
gas, and the reason we're driving a lot is really because, well, let me rephrase. The reason why he drives a lot is because he brings our son to school every morning, pick him up. But I'll say around 250, 300 for gas a month.
Yeah, maybe.
Around there.
Yeah, I know gas has just recently increased.
I know, it increased. Stuff, so yeah. And then we have our insurance, which is about under 200. Our health insurance is under 200. Now we have 2 dogs, so theirs is like 60 something USD, around $60 USD. So put it all together, we're like 200 something for insurance for the household. What else?
There's car insurance. We pay that for a year.
Oh yeah, we pay that up for the year, and that was like 180. It was 2,000. No. It was 1,000. It was
like $100 a month. That's what it broke down.
Almost.
It was a little bit less.
Yeah, under $100 a month. Yeah. What else? What's the other expenses I was saying? Now, our biggest expense is really Israel. He's in a private school. He used to be homeschooled, so that's an expense that I'm still wrapping around my head. But we pay quarterly for him for his school. And I think that's our biggest expense that we didn't have even in the States. Yeah.
But I would still say it's on average probably about 45% less, because cost of living here in Johannesburg is about 45% less than Cleveland.
Yeah.
And Cleveland is one of your least expensive cities in the U.S., right? Sizable cities, so that's kind of like how it works out.
It balances off also in certain areas. I mean, for us living in Ohio, we own our home, so our mortgage was way less than what we're paying here now.
Oh yeah.
But
you gotta look at the accommodations.
The accommodations that you're getting. It is completely.
A friend of ours from San Diego, who's planning to move here, by the way, she said a similar type of estate, probably rent would have been around over $4,000 a month. That's for a 2-bedroom. This is a 3-bedroom, so that's you're probably going up. I don't know how much per bedroom.
2 to 3 times the amount that we're paying now. Definitely. Easy. Yeah. So our expenses for us, it's okay, but we are outside the honeymoon stage now. And what I mean by honeymoon, we first came here, your mindset is, the dollar's stretching, we can do X, Y, Z. And after a month, and I'm looking at the numbers. I mean, I know it's inexpensive, but we're spending too much. We have to pull back somehow, because even then we're still able to live comfortably and do what we want to do. But now we have more of a consciousness of our spending and stuff, because you gotta start thinking. You
gotta start thinking in rand.
Thinking rand.
And one thing I would tell people is, because the dollar was fluctuating.
It's still fluctuating.
So I was like, I want to also earn in rand as well. You know what I mean? Because that's going to be more stable.
Yeah.
When the U.S. because it's like if the dollar drops, now you feel like your monthly expenses went up, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's just a little bit of a tidbit of advice for people. When they think about making a move, always consider that the dollar goes up and down in exchange when you're exchanging it into another currency.
So guys, YouTube told us that 72% of you guys watching have not subscribed. Maybe you forgot. Please do subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, it's free. That's how you show your support to us, and we promise to bring you an amazing content every week, twice a week at this point. So please subscribe now and stay tuned to Webnation Africa.
I still do real estate brokerage in the States. So basically, DSCRs, investment loans for investors in the States. So that's virtual. I don't see clients face to face. I just talk to them. So that I've been doing that for a little over 10 years now in the States. So I'm still doing that now, but I just now partnered with real estate companies and brokers here to do for investors who are looking to purchase here, and of course anyone local who's looking to purchase a home or get a bond or a mortgage, how they call it, bond here. So it hasn't really changed for me in regards to my income, since it's really commission and self-employed type of income. I think the only difference is the time. Being 6 hours ahead of the States, depending if that's the Eastern Standard Time, and I have a lot of my lenders are in California, so that's 9 hours. So that, I think that's where it gets very interesting. It's the time change, but after that, the income wise, not necessarily.
And then for myself, I did insurance in the States. And so when I came out here, because I couldn't do my job here, so when I transitioned into, well, first I was going to wait a while before, but then I started working with relocation, integration, just helping people move here to the continent. And my wife also assists with that. And then I help her with what she does for clients on the real estate end, so.
So we actually created a relationship, a whole network from the immigration law firm
that we use.
To the transportation, the banking. We have people in the banking area that helps our client get the proper bank accounts, and I mean, you name it, we have set the network up so that we can help them with the relocation integration right into South Africa. And me, I just really focus more on the real estate. So those who are coming and they need a place to rent, or they want to buy, or both, or they just want to invest. And then we don't just do real estate, we also do commercial farming as well. So
because we're partnered with another company here, friend of ours, that does agricultural consultant work, right? And so we actually just recently acquired a property that can be used as a training farm.
So it's an initiative. So basically, we know that South Africa has a high unemployment rate. So what this initiative is doing, because agriculture is big. I mean, South Africa is one of the countries who import to China, export to China and Europe. So training people to understand how to farm, why, and how to mass produce, become more commercial is what the company basically does. So we train, and not just in farming, but just in business sense, how to run a business so that you can be successful here in South Africa.
Because you have a lot of South Africans, especially Black South Africans, who farm as a subsistence farming, right? Doing it for survival, basically. And so since democracy came, there's been people, coming into land, commercial size, real estate. And so being, it's different being a commercial farmer than just a subsistence farmer, right? It's a lot of business planning and strategy with that. So that's basically, that's basically what we help people with, We didn't grow up on farms, right? It was just one of those opportunities that came to us. We put our skills and other things like the leadership aspect of it,
administration,
the marketing, and fundraising. So that's where we come in with that. But it's something that when I would do my research, I would hear stories of people who were able to acquire some of the land that was taken from them, but unable to manage a commercial farm. It used to break my heart. So I feel like it's kind of a social justice type of thing, because essentially you're as powerful as your power rests in what you know, right? If you don't know something, you haven't been exposed to it, you haven't had access to it, then you're going to fail miserably at it. And so a lot of times, if you get the right knowledge and support, somebody that understands your situation, cares about where you're at, then you can succeed. When you're nurtured up. And as my wife mentioned, like China, only 13% of their land is arable, useful for agriculture. They have a population of 2 billion.
Yeah.
Africa as a whole is great for agriculture. Definitely here in South Africa, for sure.
Definitely.
So, we want to make sure that people are able to tap into those resources and utilize what they have.
So basically, we're stating we have U.S. dollar income, and we also have rand income with a purpose. So we're not just here to just work and stuff, but also add to the community, right?
Yeah.
Build up the community as well, from farming to real estate to relocation. It doesn't matter. We're basically open to help as much as we can with the economy here. Since we're living here, why not?
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
Add to it, put our part into it, and call it a day.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel more free. I feel a lot more, I don't know, I feel more confident. In a way, I feel more empowered, I have a little bit more control over my time. And I just feel like I can make a bigger impact here. I feel more creative, like something
outgoing.
It just felt something like come alive inside of me. Like I was doing it before, but I don't know. My mindset has changed a lot.
I would say this less stress, right? So when you have that, you're not carrying so much. It makes it easier to think clearly of, okay, what's the business move? How do we want to live? How we want to move, right? Now, we were okay in the States. I'm not saying we were anything. We were middle class, I would call it, and we were comfortable. But it's a different environment that you're in that actually encourages you to be great, right? Encourage you to go for that idea and that business idea. Go and create that, right? So, and of course, for us, the advantage is we're coming from the States. Be careful, baby. We're coming from the States with some U.S. dollars, so it makes it a little bit more easier. So I'm not going to say it where South Africans is easy for you guys. No, because it's a different dynamic for us. So for us, coming with the U.S. dollar plus the experiences that we have, it made it easier for us to maneuver in such a way where now, okay, I feel okay, comfortable, because we've only been here for like 7 months.
Right.
So we're still like, okay, this is very comfortable. We're planning to move from here to a house next, because it's a lot of people and stuff here, 2 dogs. But I think being here makes it easier. The only challenge that I have is really the time difference when it comes to dealing with clients and lenders in the States. That's
and
really
I was also going to say too that at least from the South Africans I've been able to connect with,
right?
They've been very, people here have been
very supportive.
Like
informative,
like willing to, open a door for you. So, even your cousin, Joel, is a producer, he was off a conversation with an artist. They introduced him to people in Sony and Universal Studios, right?
Released he got an artist and released a single with her. I mean, in his first trip.
In his first trip. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been very supportive and, encouraging. And so, pretty easy to work with for the most part. You know what I mean? People are going to be people wherever you go. But
right.
I would say that a lot of people are very welcoming. Like they're really.
Now, still keep your street smarts.
Yeah,
I'm not
keep your street smarts. I was going to say this. This gentleman told me, he's 60 years old. He said that during apartheid, things, of course, people were isolated.
Right.
But he said the only black culture they really got exposure to was Black American culture through television.
Right.
Right. So they watched Bill Cosby show, Sanford and Son, stuff like that. And they also knew about the civil rights struggle, So there's a very welcoming. They're very welcoming towards Black Americans. You know what I mean? I have to say that people here are, and I guess enough folk have set a good example before us, where they expect you to operate to a degree of excellence. Don't ruin that when you come. Be on your best behavior.
Right,
you know?
right.
But yeah, I feel like I'm in an environment that's supportive and stuff. And as my wife stated, use your street smarts, right?
Yeah.
Don't throw your street smarts away or anything like that. That's going to be useful for you. But it's fairly easy to navigate around with people here, I think.
Oh yeah,
You know?
definitely. I think it was Lilo and Eli.
Oh yeah.
Our
We had a
pet.
cat, our pets.
Our
yeah.
cat and our pet, because actually our cat was planning to come with us, but certain paperwork and it wasn't paperwork, it was the airline that messed things up, so we had to.
Yeah, we were planning. She said the cat was planning.
I said the cat. I meant we were planning. Okay, I to bring her over, but I think the airline didn't give us the proper information. So it had to be where we were flying Qatar. So the plane from Ohio to Texas had to stay Qatar.
Yeah.
If not, since we I think we got on Delta or United or something like that. Delta. I think it was. And it had to be Qatar all the way through, but they didn't tell us that.
Right.
So I got the paperwork from South Africa and everything to bring her here, shots, all that stuff. And then when we found out that it has to be the same airline all the way through, we realized we won't be able to bring her. So, but a good friend of ours in Canada is keeping her and stuff. Yeah. I think that was the heartbreaking for me.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing I was saying.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I miss my family, but it's not that serious.
Yeah,
I love them, but it's not that serious.
I talk to my family.
Yeah,
you know.
I think we talk to them more now.
It seems like
and stuff. I mean? But
like I even do another business I've been working on this with my brother. It's involving pharmaceuticals, medical equipment, and stuff like that. I didn't mention that, but also he pulled me into that. You know, so he's a former surgeon. He kept his medical certificates and everything else, and so he pulled me into that. So I talked to him quite a bit.
Yeah.
About through that. I mean, we always bonded, but you know what I mean. It's like, you know.
I don't think I have any regret or anything that was hard to let go.
Well, I think because we were already kind of mentally
prepared for a long time.
Like, remember we were like, we're going to make the house lighter, or we were going to empty out a bunch of stuff, and then somebody came and stayed with us and brought more stuff. And
I think when it hit, it was really, I mean, when the reality hit was when we started hearing our echo in the house.
Yeah.
That's when it really was like, oh, we're leaving.
Well, the house is getting really empty.
Yeah, you heard your echoes in the living room. You're talking. So Israel and I will make little sounds, but I think that's when it hit that we're actually uprooting ourselves, because we sold everything and gave away and decided to start all over here. So I think that's when it really hit.
I was fortunate. Remember I told you about that vision I had in 2017. So when I got back to the States, a couple of months later, the outreach director at our church was like, you know, I'm preparing my home for missionaries coming from South Africa. So a group of missionaries came, and then one of them, we connected with them, and so we stayed in contact with the young lady whose wedding I helped officiate.
Yeah.
So she was a university student at the time, I think at Rhodes. Mm-hmm. And so from there, when we came and visited, we met her mother. Also from that visit, prior to me coming, a friend of mine from Zimbabwe who lives in Cleveland told me about a family out here before I came, and he gave me their contact information. Mm-hmm. So I built a relationship with them just through WhatsApp.
We met them when we came the first time.
And then we met them when we came in 2021 a couple of times, right? We had lunch with them. We invited them out to my wife's birthday. Mm. You know what I mean? They came. So then there were other people that I got to meet, from that trip, coming out here that I just stayed in contact with. Mm-hmm. People are very friendly here. So before I came, I was
you were already making that work.
Yeah, and I was asking them questions and just dialoguing, cultural exchange type stuff. So before we came, or moved here, we made connections with people.
Made connections, and we kept the connections.
And we kept those connections. We kept those relationships.
Yeah.
And so, that's just continued since we've been here. And
it's been very easy, at least for us.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, most so for him, right? Because he's the social one. I'm the one that likes to stay home, right? So he'll let me know who he meets and then bring me along. But it's been very easy to meet, network with people, connect with different families and stuff that have kids and stuff. So no, it's been actually pretty easy to build a community here, because there's a lot of African Americans who are here already before us and who are still coming, and we're connected with that group as well. And then of course the locals, we have a whole family there as well. So it's been I think that's what made it so easy.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
Because really, since we landed,
Yeah, because we had people kind of looking out for us before we came.
Yeah,
you know.
Having somebody on ground is a plus. It's a plus. Yeah,
and just to gain the local perspective about certain things, and sometimes they, South Africans can keep you grounded.
Yeah.
Because as an American, we're always converting things, right?
Yeah.
So we'll look at something and say, we'll put that in the category of, that's middle class. No, bro, that's upper class.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
or we'll do the mistake that I did, went to get my hair done
or pay too much.
Pay too much, and I'm here telling her, oh my gosh, I got my nails and my hair done, my feet, this for this much, and she's like, oh, you paid too much, and I was like, excuse me. She's like, you paid too much. The next time she brought me somewhere that everything, the same thing and then some, paid a third. I mean, it was not even a third. Like, it was so much less. And I was like, never again will I do anything without talking to her first. So having networking, having the right people around you makes a big difference. I think it will be that December where people just they're all about their vacation. Like, I think that would be like, they take it seriously here. I think for me that was the eye opener for that. Like, I need to shut down during that time.
I think for me, I've been to other African countries before and I always enjoyed the experiences, but I think for my first visit was to see how developed it was, right? That was kind of a shock. I mean, I had glimpses of South Africa, but I'm thinking, maybe that's just one area.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then also I think at how a lot of people, even though, there's cultural difference, but not a lot of cultural barriers, I guess you might as well say. There's a lot of similarities. Like I stated, some people have been exposed to our media. I think South Africans are more informed about America than Americans are about Africa or South Africa, so how informed people are, my wife, as she stated, December, how people really take that as a big deal, going back to their
greetings. Like, they don't not just talk, how we come and be like, hey, hi, so I need da-da-da. No, it's how are you? I am doing great. How are you? Before we can even get to the whole purpose of the store, but it's the way they greet each other. Even when we were taking Uber, coming through your estate, like they greet, like it's a whole conversation thing going on. And for me, it's like, oh my gosh, it feels very family oriented, right? And that you're not just gonna pass by without acknowledging each other. And so that for me was like, I think even the Zulu word
sawubona means like I see you. So it's not just saying hello, it's like I see you.
Yeah, and they mean it.
Johnny, right? Like I've been seen.
Yeah, I had to remind him a few times because he would be like,
"Excuse me,"
and
they go right into him.
And then they'd be like, and then the guy was like, "How are you?" and stuff. So that was nice. It's just to remember, like, see the person when you're greeting them and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah, 100%. And not necessarily monetarily, just
No.
I feel more at peace, at home. I feel more welcomed. I feel like my children can grow up in a place that affirms their identity, you know, and just the rich experience of, you know, growing up in one place and now living in another, you know, that's just a whole experience within itself. You know, it's like a opening a book, right? So, yeah, I feel a lot more wealthier internally, not just financially.
No, I would agree. It's like I said, when you have that peace and you're more present, it gives you so much perspective in life that, oh wow, now I feel like I'm not missing out on anything. And that's on Israel, with how he feels and what he's doing in school. Samara, seeing them go at it at each other, the 2-year-old beating up an 11-year-old. I mean, just being present and to see that these are memories that you're not going to forget, you know? Because in the States, we're working all the time. And I feel like we missed out, though he was homeschooled. Right?
Or like if you get pulled over by the police, it's like an anxiety. And, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, so.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that here.
Nah, you don't
You
feel
don't have to worry
that
about
at all
that.
here.
Yeah.
You know?
But the peace is I think that's more than money can buy. I mean, the peace of mind, you have the clarity to do whatever it is that you need to do.
Before we moved, we saw this house online.
Oh man.
Big, beautiful home. And so I was like, first my plan was like, no, we'll just get an apartment. We'll rent. We'll just figure it out. You know, there's a plethora of real estate out here, right? But then we came across this one house, right? And so then conversing with the real estate agent, the owner was willing to drop the price to even potentially sell it to us, right? So we're like, oh, this is great. We need to jump on this. So I kind of abandoned my plan and said, go ahead and do it. We had a friend of ours check it out. They said, well, there's some things that needs to be done. Okay, so we let the landlords know we need this and that done. So we get into the place and we get in there.
Nothing was done.
Nothing was done.
Nothing was done.
It was done. Big home.
Yeah,
huge
beautiful,
house,
but needed
a guest house, but just needed maintenance, right? And so it was big. I remember at night it would get kind of cool in there. That'll be a thing that'll surprise you, that at night it can get kind of cold.
Yeah.
And so we were sleeping on air mattresses, and
all four of us together, wrapped together because it was so cold.
It was so cold, and
yeah.
then we're seeing like these carpenter ants that have eaten through the wood. You're seeing
the dust,
the wood with sawdust,
yeah,
in different places. There was some ugly carpet upstairs. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?
But we didn't lose money.
We didn't really lose
because they gave it back. Let's just say I made sure they gave it back.
But it was.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. If you want to come in and renovate something like that, you could.
Yeah.
But to come right off of a plane into something like that.
But not only that, Israel was going to start school in a month, and we just didn't have. Yeah. We just didn't have that time to deal with anything. So we stayed for 2 weeks, if even. If even. I don't even think it was a full 2 weeks. And we were out. And I told them, yes, I would like my refund. Spoke with their attorney.
That was all our fault.
And then we made it happen.
Yeah, we had a friend of ours let us stay at their house for a couple of days, and then we came out.
And then we came here.
You know, so.
Same here. So. Yeah. But, yeah, I think that was the only thing.
That was the biggest.
Yeah.
I guess, money mistake. Praise the Lord, we were able to get the money back.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But that's something I would tell people, like, you don't have to be in a rush.
Don't have to be in a rush.
Or if you can get something online, just make sure.
You have the right people on ground, making sure that your interest is at hand, yeah.
Because, I guess they didn't, I let you handle them. Cause,
yeah, he left. Because I do real estate, so I understand the in and out, and I understand the CPA, which is their laws.
We knew the laws.
Yeah, so they didn't understand that I knew. So I kind of wrote them a nice email to let them know this
wrote-
is the
she wrote
law
the email in my
that we're
email.
abiding by at this moment. Yeah, because the whole dynamic. But and then they realized, oh, she knows what she's doing, and they gave it back. But you can purchase or rent while you're there before you get. It's just that you have to have the person who has your best interest, right, to be there to make sure that what you're getting is what you're getting. But you don't have to do it. You can still come do an Airbnb, go to the hotel, and then do a little scout to see which place you want to rent, which is totally fine.
Well, I still see us in the Joburg area.
Yeah.
Maybe by then we may even build a home, actually, And of course, my son in 5 years will be 16, so he'll still be in what they call matric high school. My daughter will be in school, so I'm kind of excited to see what we'll be doing. You know what I mean, with some of the business things that we're doing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the pharmaceutical business that you and your brother's doing, and see how far we are. Relocation integration services taking, and of course the real estate.
And I would like to also travel more throughout the continent and around the world. So hopefully I can do more travel. Because baby girl will be a little older. And
yes.
She'll be like 7 years old. So.
Oof, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I would say visit first. Just come visit first.
Yeah, I would say do it. But
Come visit.
But visit. Right, visit first. If you're a prayerful, spiritual person, and you feel the Lord telling you to go one place, don't fight against that. Just surrender and submit and stuff like that. But I would say certainly do it. Do your homework. Talk, get good advice. Get wise counsel. Do your research, see it,
come and see
yourself,
it all. Make sure that's the priority to come and visit. Spend at least 3 to 4 weeks.
If you can survive how the taxis drive out here,
then
you can make it.
You can
know
make
what I'm saying? So, I would say visit and just seek out good counsel.
And we're open to anyone who's looking for more information. And stuff, or who just needs someone to talk it out, right? Because sometimes we had some clients who just wanted to ask some questions and get more of a person-to-person type of thing. Then we're open to it.
I'm big on planning and strategically making your move. It doesn't have to be an experiment. You don't want to make a move to Africa to be a social experiment. Make it a strategic move for your life. If you're just coming to live the retired lifestyle, that's fine. You can do that. There's a way you can plan to come here and do that and experience that. If you're coming to work,
coming to invest,
if you're coming to volunteer, those opportunities exist. And just find a way that you can walk into that.
And be willing to be flexible, right? Don't think that the mentality of you being an American will transition automatically here. So there's systems and there's ways that every country moves differently. So be flexible to be able to respect certain cultural differences.
Always respect the culture.
Respect the cultural differences and just, for example, things slow down in December, so know that you're not going to be doing much business, right? So just understanding these dynamics makes life so much simpler and stuff. So,